What do the technologies of trains and space exploration have in common? Well, I would argue quite a lot. Obviously, the technology used to develop train travel 200 years ago was a world away from the kind of technology we see in space exploration today. But they do share some fundamental characteristics in the way they interact with, and even shape, society. Recognizing this and understanding this will help us develop technologies that are beneficial and not harmful for society. If we think carefully, we get to design the impact, not just passively accept it. Let's think ahead. This is ASU. When I think about space technologies, the future of humanity in space, I think backwards to the 19th century in the United States. There's this technology that really marks the whole century, and that's regularly scheduled, steam-powered passenger trains. The first passenger train was installed in 1830 between Baltimore and Ohio, and very, very quickly after that, there are railroad lines crisscrossing the United States. The next several decades are often referred to as the golden age of railroads, a whole era defined by a single technology. Rail could cover long distances quickly. They changed where people lived, where they worked. Rail revolutionized industry, and it was very much responsible for the economic development of the United States during that time. But the railroads also had a big impact on culture. Trains brought with it a new standard for timeliness. A punctual schedule is necessary for safety so that trains avoid crashing into one another. This new emphasis on punctuality, reinforced by capital-intensive machines, would trickle out into society. And the end of that century would be dominated by a new paradigm centered on productivity and efficiency that we, time is money, still see today. The progressive era would see this idea of efficiency seep into economic paradigms, religious beliefs, and ways of living. Railroads are a classic example of how new technologies can have a significant impact on society and culture. So now, we are on the verge of a new space age. And what can we learn from the railroads? Looking at the current, fast-growing space sector, it's hard not to imagine that space technologies will have a similarly profound impact on our world, perhaps influencing our future economic systems, political systems, shared natural environment, cultural norms, and even our own philosophies and religions. It's easy to imagine the advancement of technological development as this all-powerful guiding force on society, and we mere mortals are subject to the whims of the inevitable technologies that scientific advancement bequeath upon us. This mental framework is often referred to as technological determinism, i.e., technology guides society. Let's consider this principle through a specific lens: gender. Women's health was wholly ignored in the early engineering design of human spaceflight. NASA in the 1960s was overtly discriminatory against women. In a 1962 hearing in front of the US Congress, astronaut John Glenn would state, "Men go off and fight the wars and fly the airplanes and come back and help design and build and test them. The fact that women are not in this field is a fact of our social order." And that early attitude would have long repercussions for women in space. The first American woman would not go into space until 1983. NASA announced the first all-female spacewalk in October of 2018, only to embarrassingly discover there were not enough spacesuits on the ISS in the correct sizes for women astronauts to spacewalk at the same time. Even now, a female astronaut can only be in space half the time that a male astronaut can, due to engineering designs, regulations, and research priority decisions made early on. This is an example of technological path dependency. Once certain design choices are made, it's hard to reverse course. Automobiles were designed for 2 people. Road infrastructure now accommodates that width, and it would be nearly impossible now if we wanted to, say, design cars 3 people wide. New technologies exist within larger socio-technical systems. Scientific advancements inform the development of new technologies, and technological innovations drive future scientific research. And both are shaped by the opinions, values, and beliefs of different members of society, who are in turn impacted in overt and subtle ways by new scientific and technological innovations. So where does that leave us? Space is still young. If we continue on our current trajectory, humanity will be an interplanetary species. The impacts of space technologies are already omnipresent, from communication and information sharing to navigation, weather prediction, surveillance and espionage. Space technology is impacting all of us. As the space industry continues to grow and develop, engineering designs, technology policies, our choices in the design and implementation of technology will have substantial impacts on society that will have a lasting impact on future generations. Railroads changed everything, including how we think, work, and live. They changed aspirations and possibilities. They changed society and culture irreversibly. As humanity becomes an interplanetary species, now is the time to consider the consequences of our decisions in space technology and to strive for a future that would be equitable and sustainable for everyone. Our choices in technological development matter. One day, like the railways, they may serve to define us. This was ASU. Thank you for watching.